and welcome to Disable the Label podcast. I'm your host, Kerry, and on our podcast, we'll be talking all things disability. Holidays, equipment, therapy, funding, you name it, and we'll talk about it. We want to empower and support parents of disabled children across the UK whilst they navigate their child's life. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get into it. This episode is sponsored by Kesva Swimwear. Kesva Swimwear creates swimwear for incontinence sufferers to empower them to swim with ease and confidence. They have everything from swim shorts to swimsuits, so check them out on our app, Disable the Label. On this episode, we have Chris Rattenbury, who comes to chat to us about his journey through sport. He's a power athlete, he's been to the Commonwealth Games, and he has so much to tell us. So, let's get into it. Right, hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we have Chris. Chris, welcome.
Hey.
How are you?
All right. Yeah, not bad at all.
Good.
Busy.
As always. Is this your first podcast that you're doing?
No. So I done one for a friend of mine a couple of years ago. He does he's very into holistic stuff, mental health and stuff. So we did a podcast a couple of years ago, just before lockdown, and that was really cool. And I've done another one with my friend Ella and Ali, my training partner. But that was a bit of a car crash because when Ali and I are on the same video chat, nothing ever goes to plan. And we just argue amongst ourselves.
Nice.
And take over everything.
I've got you by yourself. I'm sure that will still happen anyway, but
Yeah.
So I like my guests to introduce themselves because I don't know everything about you, so it's probably best that you kind of say who you are, what you do, etc., and then we'll get started.
So my name's Chris, obviously. I'm a volunteer and ambassador for a charity, Wheelpower National Charity for Wheelchair Sport, based at Stonewall Stadium, which is the birthplace of the Paralympic movement. Been there for 10 years. I was born with a spina bifida back in the 1970s, long time ago.
Yeah, that's long.
And back then, not a lot was known about spina bifida. And my parents were told that I was going to die at 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like they told me all this, and I'm thinking, I don't really want to know this, if I'm honest. Just keep that to yourself, really.
Yeah.
Parents said your life expectancy isn't great. Cheers, thanks. So and I swear on my 6th birthday, my dad looked at me as if to say, "Oh, what do we do with him now?"
Yeah, we didn't expect this. You were meant to vanish at the age.
All about. And then they were told I was going to die at 10. So of course, at 10 years old, I'm still there, and he's like, "Right, I've had enough of this. You're going to do something with your life." And then he was very much like, you're not going to sit around doing sport, sit around doing nothing. You're going to do something with your life. You're not going to play scale electrics all day. And
what?
I know.
That's mean.
Yeah, you're going to go to school and
what?
I know. The thing was, I enjoyed school. So the first school I went to was a school in Luton, because we lived in Leighton Buzzard at the time, and I would do the same curriculum that they would be doing in mainstream school. So it was
it was a special school.
Yeah, but I'd be doing the same curriculum as like someone else would be doing my age.
Yeah.
So I had aspirations of at that age doing something, I don't know, quite legal, lawyer sort of thing.
Okay.
So my godfather was a policeman, And obviously I couldn't be the new Ironside. It's
Yeah.
don't let wheelchair users go out on the beat, which I think I think they should let disabled people be police officers, because no criminal is going to suspect the person in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then we're like, oh, it's not going to be him. Carry on,
no,
like dealing drugs
no,
right in
no,
front of you.
yeah, it's not going to be them, and that's it. Just
Yeah.
nick them, you know,
Yeah.
solve the problems. And then we moved to Milton Keynes, and obviously this is where I learned that education is very different in different authorities. So I went to a
Yeah.
special school, and the hardest thing I had to do was 2+2. It
Was there
was
at any point, like, do you know if did your parents get pushed for you to go to special school? Like, because I know that inclusion wasn't a thing then, so I'm having to obviously take my brain out of that. But did they ever think like, oh, we'll just try and send them to a mainstream before the special school? Was it just like that's what kind of the medical professionals told them?
I think that was back then, that this is what happens.
Right.
That's where it goes. Crack on,
Yeah. Suck it
you
up,
know.
buttercup.
Yeah. And I had to experience things like physio while I was at these schools, and I used to have calipers when I was a kid, and I hated it. I really hated walking, because if I was born to be able to walk, I'd be able to walk.
Mm.
Um, and I appreciate that's very different for some disabilities, but I think
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
in my particular disability, there was no way I could walk unaided.
Mm.
Um, I would fall down flat on my face. Um, so I had these calipers, which, yes, I'm grateful in a way because they built up my leg strength,
Yeah.
but my leg strength was too much for the calipers at times. Um,
Wow.
so they would break often. And when we moved to Milton Keynes, I got given these calipers called the HGO. It was
Ooh.
called. I was like, they nicknamed me Robo Chris at school,
Oh.
um, because it was just the slowest thing in the world. Um, but I learned how to fall over and not hurt myself, because my dad would take me. I figured out quite early on that if I break this thing, it gets sent back to America to be fixed, and that's
That's
not
a
going to happen.
long time.
So I learned to fall over. So my dad used to take me walking around this DIY store called Texas back in the 80s, 90s, and he would be walking ahead. And these braces were just made up of Allen keys and things,
Wow.
and stuff. So I just get an Allen key, undo the thing, chuck the screw. Oh dear, I've fallen over. Oh, it's broken. Oh, what a shame. It's got to go away. Oh dear.
Oh no. I'm so upset about this.
Yes, so upset about it. And I got away with it until one day, a security guard that used to work at my dad's work started working at the store, and he grasped me up. He did, and I was like, "Damn!"
That's
Uh,
not fair.
I know, but my dad was like, "Well, why would you do that?" I was like, "Because I just don't see the point in a walking."
Hmm.
It. I agree that we should be all fit and active. I completely agree with that. But I think there has to be communication. The child's wishes has to be taken into consideration. And, you know, ultimately, you don't want to make the child unhappy.
No.
And if you, so there has to be, when the time is right, have that discussion of, right, what would you like to do? Why would you like to?
Yeah.
And if they can come up with a more cohesive argument, then go along with that.
It's like finding the right balance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So when I was about 11 years old, my dad was always, "You're going to do sport. You're going to do sport." I was like, I don't want to do sport. I want to sit, play PlayStation, whatever. You know, you
Yeah.
know. I want a games console. No, I'm going to do sport. So um, there was a thing called the Spine Booster Association. Called back then it was called ASBAR. It's called Shine now.
Okay.
And so they sent me on a week, like bit of a life skills week.
Okay.
No matter what, I really enjoyed it. I learned how to go downstairs in my wheelchair, which was amazing. Um, it was just, I learned how to go up and down curves, things that are useful.
Yeah.
You know, you know that it was great. I got taught something useful, something I can put into practice. So I went there for a week, and then they were like, "We want to find you a basketball club, so you can take up sport." I was like, "I don't want to take up sport." So and then they were like, "Oh, we found one." Oh, I still don't want to go. So in the end, I went because it would shut my dad up.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? And went to this basketball club, and I got the Mickey taken out of me, left, right, and centre, because they were all older than me. I got called because my feet used to go like that. I got called fetus. I got called all kinds of things, and I'm like, if the stuff that went on then, if it was done today,
Yeah.
it just all kinds of safeguarding boxes would be.
Were they wheelchair users as well? Was it a wheelchair basketball or was it just
Yeah, they were all wheelchair. Yeah, they were all wheelchair
okay? Yeah,
users.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which I suppose makes it a little bit better.
Well, that's it. I don't know.
You know, but I guess it, in a way, it contributed to me toughening up.
Hmm.
Um, but again, I think, well, do I really need that lesson at 11 years old?
Yeah. That toughening
You know,
up is more like a 15, 16
yeah,
plus kind of age. You got to enjoy your childhood at the same time and find yourself like
yeah,
in your own ways. But yeah, toughening up is
yeah,
more of an
absolutely.
older age thing, I would say.
But yeah, we went to that, and my parents were very good. They didn't, wrap me up in cotton wool at all. It was, we will let you go out with your friend. Like one time I had about 4 or 5 wheelchairs, and me and my best friend would, like, he's not in a wheelchair, but we would bang a race round down the street, you know, crashing into each other and all that. My best friend, he taught me how to do wheelies and
Oh, I
things.
love it.
And I used to have one of these hand bike things that not as technical as they are
Yeah.
today, but like the very first. And I remember one day doing this evil Knievel thing, jumping off a curb, hitting this other curb, flying off the other side, breaking my arm.
Oh my.
Um, and my parents going, well, bit of an idiot for breaking your arm, but you know, but letting me be a
A
kid.
child. Yeah.
I got into fights with people because I was a mouthy so and so, and they would punch me, and my dad would go, "Well, you shouldn't be so mouthy," you know, and absolutely right. It was. I was treated as a kid, you know,
Mm.
treat, go out, make the mistakes,
Yeah.
learn
Fall
them.
over, break arms, do
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Just don't break the law.
Yeah.
That was the only requirement. Don't break the law. Um, so yeah, we used to. So I went to basketball, and now I could go down the street with my legs out straight and shopping balanced on my feet.
Okay.
And it's probably like sitting in these chairs. You need quite good flexibility. So first of all, I had ankle surgery to straighten my ankles, um,
Oh.
which was cool. And then me and my best friend, we were both big WWF fans back then, or WWE as it's known now.
Yeah.
We
How
would
does that not surprise me? That's quite like that doesn't surprise me at all, you know.
we would wrestle in the back garden. Of course, we all thought it was all real back then, so we would literally batter each other. Um, there's this, and then so I come out of hospital, and my best friend put in this wrestling move called the figure four leg lock, and my ankles were back to where they were before the operation.
uh,
Having to go back and explain that one to my dad, the surgeon, was quite a difficult conversation.
and how old were you then?
I was 12 then.
Oh my goodness.
12.
So your best friend didn't have a disability, physical or any
No,
disability. So how did you know him?
no,
If you
no
went to
disability.
special school, was he just like on your street?
So it's really weird. When we were moving from from Leighton Buzzard to Milton Keynes, went to view this house, and he was there playing with the kid that was living there, and we just became best friends
Wow.
from that. From that's and been friends for nearly 40 years.
Oh my god, that's so cool. So he
Yeah,
was kind of your first, I suppose, able-bodied friend because you
yeah,
went
and
to special school.
yeah, and I'd say he's probably one of my biggest role models. He
Right.
really is. You know, he's been so good to me.
It's
You know,
nice that he kind of,
hopefully,
because back then, obviously, even when I went to school, like I didn't know anybody that was disabled.
yeah,
It was my dad did a lot of work with disabled kids, and that's how I knew and I was
right.
around it. But we didn't throughout my whole school life, we didn't have anybody that was physically disabled, you know, within
No,
our school. So even like I remember friends when my dad's godson came over, he had cerebral palsy. My friends would not know
mm,
what to do. So it's really cool that he just kind of like was like, yeah, do this, let's do this, let's
yeah,
do that. You know,
yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't see your disability, he just saw you, which is really cool. Like, and then
No,
that's definitely like a basis for an amazing friendship. Clearly, if you're still friends now,
oh,
you know.
absolutely. I mean, the stuff we used to get up to. We'd make a raft in the summer. He'd push me into the middle of the lake, you know, because we love a prank on each other. He bought me roller skates one year for a Christmas present. No, knowing full well I can't use roller skates. We just buy stuff. So I got my own back one day and bought him a 20-foot penguin, um, and inflated it on his front garden. You
Oh, I
know,
love
we
it.
were just brutal to each other. So my my obviously my dad wanted me to do sport. So it was decided that I would have knee surgery so I could bend my knees.
Oh, okay.
Um, the doctor said this will mean that you'll never walk at all
Right.
ever again, not even calipers. And I was like, looking at my dad, like, your
That's a shame.
choice. Choose.
I'll
You
choose
know,
it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, he's got me by the trunk curlies here." Um, Thankfully, he chose the knee surgery, um, and that was yeah, interesting, because one of the knees didn't quite heal up
Okay.
properly, so I could see my kneecap and
Oh,
things. Yeah, I was like, "Oh wow, that looks really cool." Um,
of
and
course.
like everyone, so they did a bit of surgery to cut a bit out my leg, turn the skin round, cover the hole, and like I had a massive chunk outside of my leg. And I remember going to the Isle of Wight day after a pair of shorts. I'm like, I don't care that I got a chunk out of my leg. People's there. Let them take a picture. You know?
It's
Um,
cool that I wonder how you got that attitude. Like, was your dad like that? Like, or was your like were your parents like, oh, because it seems like your dad's like, you're gonna do it. I don't care. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do. You're
yeah,
gonna walk. You're
yeah.
gonna do sport. Was he the way like, oh, just let them stare? Like, did you get that from him, or did you just kind of grow into that? I
No, no.
suppose.
I think that was more my own
Okay.
attitude, because although I didn't like sport, I feel I was very independent.
Right.
Um, and I
You
remember
didn't want to
going
be
on.
mollycoddled or
No, I remember going on a school trip to America, uh,
wow.
which was really amazing. When I think I was like 10, 11 years old, and that was amazing. Um, but because there were people there were more because it was with my old special school. Although I was in mainstream school, they still invited me, which was really nice.
Mm.
Um, they A lot of them obviously had a lot more severe disabilities, so I just kind of looked after myself really, and
Yeah.
you learn the independence and things. And I think going back to the ASBAR course at Stoke Mandeville, you learn independence. But yeah, I was very much, you you can stay if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect you. That's not
No,
going to make you feel rubbish.
no,
Yeah, that's really
no.
cool that you were like that. Because even like
Yeah,
even just for me, I'm very aware of people looking at me, like not like when I'm with the disabled kids, like I actually probably better when I'm with them. I'm like, well, I don't know what you're looking at, because they're just like me. But as a person, I'm very aware of what other people think about me, and that does affect the way that I feel about myself. So that's a really cool thing that you're able to be like, you can look at me, it doesn't really, it's not going to affect the way I feel about
yeah,
myself or what
yeah,
I'm going to do. Um, just yeah, I'd love to
yeah.
have that, be able to be like that because I'm definitely not.
Um,
um, so you switched to secondary school. In secondary school, you switched to mainstream. I'm guessing.
no, so I went to mainstream middle school,
Oh,
uh,
middle school. Okay.
because basically I was a little terror in this special school because I was bored.
Yeah, yeah.
I became I and stuff I'm not proud of. I told lies. Social services were at my parents' doors because I told them I'd fallen over at home. I was literally doing anything I could to get kicked out of this school.
Yeah.
And this head teacher dragged me and went, "Chris, I've got this glowing report from your previous school going, you are a model student, blah blah blah. What's going on?" And he was really good, and I told him, and he was very instrumental in getting me into mainstream.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I was like, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
I don't belong here. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, and like then that could potentially affect the rest of your life, really. Like,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because I was playing catch up
Mm,
my life. You know,
yeah.
um, Middle school was okay. I was bullied a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
um, not because I was in a wheelchair, but because I was a mouthy so. You know, and like it was the first time I ever got punched actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and the head teacher dragged us both in and went, "You're both to blame. You need to watch your gob, and you know,
You cannot
and
punch him.
yeah, you should not punch him." And I said to him, I said to the guy many years later, actually, we had a really good chat, like as adults. I said the only thing that bugged me about that was that you got someone to tip up my chair to punch me and all that. I said if you
Wow.
just punch me straight, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
He was really honest. He said, I was really worried that if someone didn't tip you back, you would punch me back.
He did it to protect himself.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Can't argue with that.
Well, I probably would have, you know.
So I was like, oh, fair enough. But yeah, I went to secondary school and they were superb. My class, superb. Never saw the wheelchair. Like, yeah, there was a couple of bullies. But they were just bullies to everyone. It wasn't just
Yeah.
me.
They're those type of people.
You know, yeah. But I got on with people that were higher up in the popularity, shall we say?
Yeah.
And I remember going. We went on this residential to Stackpole, which is in Wales somewhere, and I did things like abseiling.
Love it.
That was amazing. And we went to this theme park called Oakwood.
Oh yeah, I know Oakwood. I'm from South Wales, so that's my like
Oh, amazing!
stomping ground.
Yeah, yeah. So we went. I don't know. Did you? I don't know if it's like a toboggan
Yeah, it's
ride.
still there.
Still there. So me and my friend Joe, we were on there, and Joe, bless her, she was like, "Chris, you sit in the middle. I'll sit behind you," and all that. And she's like, I'll control the thing." And all that. I've been on it before with someone else, and I've gone really slowly. Joe was having none of this. Handle straight down. And I just remember getting, she's like, "You're right, Chris." Well, if I wasn't disabled before, I am now. You know? And she's like, you know, you got to face these fears. And I went, to the far.
All right.
Yeah. And then they've got that big giant slide.
Mhm.
And I'd climbed all this way up to the stairs to get up it, to the top of it. And then I was like, okay, perhaps it's a really stupid idea. And then Joe went, yeah, it's a really stupid idea, but off you go, holding up, everyone. No, and she was amazing. She really was.
Oh, that's so cool.
She, none of them saw the wheelchair or anything. No, I was in Cubs and Scouts as well.
Yeah.
We went hiking in the Devon Moors,
Wow.
and the guys having to take my wheels off and carry me in my wheelchair like a king. That was quite cool.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
I was gonna say they didn't have off-roading wheelchairs back then. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
no.
So, like, how did you get through that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that. We went on a camp in Germany and thing.
Wow.
That was amazing. So yeah, it's had a real difficult
Sounds
but good childhood.
yeah. It sounds like in a way like y- there was obviously there are always going to be difficult parts,
Yeah,
But it sounds like you actually had a really cool, amazing childhood where you just
yeah,
did everything. Like you threw yourself into it. Like I'm guessing you're the kind of person
yeah.
that you'll try and think once. Like if you don't like it, then you're not going to do it again, but you'll give it a go.
No, yeah. I mean, there was a thing when I was younger, um, called "Don't Just Sit There," and you just got to try things like go karting, hovercrafting, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever," you know. Um, but with all those good things, there was the bad things like hospitals.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in hospitals, um, and I hated being in hospital. I don't know anyone that likes being in hospital really.
Yeah.
Um, I I spent a lot of time more orthopedic surgery than anything. Remember having this like big plaster cast on and a bar between my legs.
Oh yeah.
And
I know what
then
that is.
there was this little horror of a kid on the ward that would tie a bit of string and pull me around like a dog. On,
Oh.
and you're like, just leave me alone, please.
Yeah.
You know, but nurses thought it was hilarious. Because healthcare professionals have a sick sense of humour.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, and then, so when I was 14, my dad took me to Stoke Mandeville because he wanted me to do wheelchair racing. He was well into his motor
It was
racing.
still wasn't stopping with that sporting
No,
thing then.
still wasn't. I was doing all right with the basketball. I wasn't great. I'm still not great, but I was doing all right with it. I was thought, that's it, peace and quiet. And there was this wheelchair racer that lived in Milton Keynes, and they got in contact with her. Now she was very, I'll try and be careful with this, but very publicity orientated.
Right, okay.
Um, and like there was headlines in the local newspaper about me saying champion in the making, and I'm thinking, what are they smoking?
I don't even want to be here. Do they not know I don't want to be
Yeah. Yeah. So we went to Stoke Mandeville, and it was on my 14th birthday. That's the last thing I want to be doing on my 14th birthday.
here?
And then to be told, no, it's not 100 meters. I've done 100 meters before, and it was 8 laps of Stoke Mandeville track.
No way. So what that
That's 2 miles.
oh
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to do it.
no. I think even 2 laps would be like, oh really?
Yeah. I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. Just do it. Just get in there. Everyone else had the 3-wheeler wheelchairs. I had a 4-wheeler. Mine was
Okay.
from the 1970s, and they're all in their 4-wheelers. But I raced against a certain David Weir.
Oh
Yeah, and I swear he was so fast back then. He passed me 8 times before I'd finished my first lap. So I'm in floods of tears on my 14th birthday. My dad's going, come on. And I'm like,
you're doing really well. Clearly not.
yeah, what's going wrong? Where do you want me to start?
I don't want to be here, so I'm not really trying that hard.
So I'm in absolute bits. And this girl, Nicola, pushed around with me in her day chair. That's how slow I was. I'm in a racing chair, and she's going around with me in her day chair. Just honestly, just punch me as well. Go on.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything else you want to show that I'm doing, making
yeah,
you do
you know,
feel really crap?
I know. How about you just make it even worse and turn around and go backwards? You know. But bless her, she came round the last 3 laps with me, and it turns out we found out a few years later we were distantly related.
No way.
Yeah, very, very distantly related. Which,
Wow.
um, so, but she was really good, and her family was so lovely, to me, so supportive, and all the juniors and the parents back then, they were all really nice, really encouraging. You know, it was never look at him, he's really slow, blah blah blah. You know,
Yeah.
it was very encouraging, which is nice to see. It's nice to see, and the likes of David were encouraging as well. I can't say a bad word about him. He was super shy but supportive. You
Yeah.
know, I remember being in a basketball hole with him, and he's like just putting shot up after shot. I went, do you think I'm any good, Chris? Yes, David, you're very good. It's another sport. You know, he's just one of them, really, you know.
Do you know I'm being made to be here? Can you tell?
Yeah, yeah. No, he's brilliant. He was brilliant. And so I did wheelchair racing um, until I was 17.
Oh, okay.
So I nearly lost my life when I was 17.
Wow.
Um, I so I'm known for wearing shorts in the snow all year round. Um, and we'd done a race in Worthing, and I felt like a bit of a cold and
Yeah.
things. And yeah, it was a cold day. It was December sort of time. But I remember going around this track, and I was like, and there was 3 of us that were competitive together.
Yeah.
Myself, Derek, and Darren. And he, like, if I either one of us would beat each other, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't feel myself. I just followed the pair of them round, and whenever they did this thing called drafting, so I would, you know, I'd have to go at the front times, but I would slow it right down because I couldn't be bothered. Um, and in the end, they got frustrated and they just went in front. And I just sat behind them because it's being behind them is actually easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're getting a bit of speed from them.
Yeah. Um, anyway, with 100 meters to go, I just went, see ya, bye. And their dads are going mental at them. Going, why have you let it? He's played you like this. Why have you let him do this? You know, they're not mad at me. You know, but next day I woke up and had a pain in my back, and I went to college, did my marketing exam, surprisingly passed it, which was my worst subject. So, the honest did something good. I come home and I'm hugging my dad's radiator, my parents' radiator, you know, and my mum and dad are a little bit concerned. Or my mum was concerned, and they're like, "What's going on here?" So they took me to the doctors in the evening, and the doctor gave me some antibiotics, which put me on another planet for a good couple of weeks. But the best thing about those 2 weeks is I beat David Weir.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So they did this Grand Prix series. Of course, David being the excellent racer he is, I think I beat him, or he finished just above me, one or two. But I think I did beat him. So Grand Prix series, and David pick and choose what race he wants to do. My dad, nope, you're going to enter this, and pretty every much race. No, no rest for the wicked. So they went to the awards thing at the end of the year. I didn't go because I'm on another planet, you know. And they come up with this trophy, and apparently I'd finished third in the Grand
Oh
Prix stand.
wow.
Yeah. So I started to feel a bit better, and then when I went back to doctors, a couple of hours later, I suddenly went downhill massively.
Oh,
And I went to the hospital. Now, as well as one who'd had hydrocephalus,
yeah.
which would water the vein and tube, and they this doctor is stabbing my head with a needle and all that, and I'm like, I'm no expert, but I think that paracetamol will be a lot more effective for a headache than stabbing my head.
Yeah.
And then he
With a
explained,
needle.
yeah, then he explained what he was doing. He was just making sure it wasn't blocked. I was like, well, perhaps you
Right.
should say that
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Not after.
You know, doctor says, we're going to admit you. So they admitted me because they said my blood was all over the place, etc. And it turned out I had proteus septicemia.
Whoa.
Um, so yeah, that was a bit scary. And they said,
They
you
know
know,
how you managed to get that.
so I had this device put in to control my bladder,
Right.
and basically it worked a little bit too well. Um, it worked a little bit too well, which is a good thing that it worked, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Flip side, not so much.
no. So we, I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and the doctor said that you're going to see a specialist in a couple of weeks, but take a bag with you because you're going to be staying in. So I went to see my surgeon, showed him the discharge letter. Well, he went a funnier colour than I'd ever been, and literally was like, I don't care which ward you're going to be on. You are going to, if it's the mental ward, it's the mental ward. You are staying in this hospital. And I spent the next 4 or 5 months in there,
Oh
having
my
stones
god.
removed um, from me. And then they decided that they were going to do a bladder enlargement operation because they said bladder wasn't quite big enough, and that's why they had thought about doing it first of all
They had,
with
yeah.
the original operation, but they thought it would be okay, and clearly not.
Yeah.
So I spent. It was great. I was in Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, which is an amazing hospital.
Mm.
And the nurses were brilliant. They were so trusting. They let me go to Harrods on my own, look around. I had clashes with some nurses because of my untidiness.
Right.
Um, I'm like, because I was there so long, I started treating it like home,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Um, but they were brilliant. They even gave me a staff card to get discount in the staff cafe,
Love it.
because I didn't like the hospital food particularly much.
Who
uh,
does?
yeah, and there was a Haagen-Dazs restaurant opposite the hospital, and they took me there on a weekly basis. So really, I'm blaming them for me putting on weight. It's their fault, not my fault at all. Definitely their fault. No, they're brilliant. And when I got out of hospital, I was told I was going on holiday to America, and then I was told I was going to go and watch the Paralympics in Atlanta. It's like, oh great, more sport, yay! So excited.
Every
But
other child would be like, "This is so cool," and you're like, "Can I just stay at home?"
yeah, then but you get to go to Disney World first. Well, I'm interested now. he started with that, you know, and I went with some other wheelchair racers, um, and it was called Data Disabled Athletes to Atlanta. It was
Oh.
just the worst thing in the world. It was like, you must have just put Crips on tour, you know? Just, just why did we need that? Just
Yeah.
people going on holiday, you know? What do you want us to do? Dribble as well, you
Did
know?
you have T-shirts with it on?
Yes.
How
Yeah,
nice. Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
real good.
So like, why won't you wear the T-shirt, Chris? Where do I start? You know? Um, so we went there and um went to watch David Weir in the final of the 100 meters, and it was silly. There was only about 20 people in the stadium,
Wow.
you know, and it's like, why would anyone be inspired to do wheelchair sport? What? Why?
Mm.
You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. And but that's where, funnily enough, my powerlifting career started.
That's where
Is
you fell in love with it,
I wouldn't say I fell in love.
but you kind of were like, "Oh,"
Yeah, I got
did it
into it
spark, like, an interest? Like, "Oh, what's this?"
for all the wrong reasons.
Oh.
All the wrong reasons. So we were me and one of the other guys were in the gym one day in the hotel, and on TV was the Paralympic powerlifting. And there was this guy from Great Britain called Nick, and he was lifting 220. And we looked to see what I was lifting. I was lifting 220. And we thought, oh, amazing. I'm the best in the world without even trying. Rich, famous, Queen's going to give me, like, I can eat what I want to.
Move out the way, Nick.
And yeah, no, Dad's going to be off my case. You know,
I
finally,
finally found a sport.
yeah. You know, so I go home, tell my dad, sat in the back of the car, went, Dad, I'm going to go to Sydney Paralympics. And he was like, oh, wow, what's changed? I went, I'm going to be a power lifter. Sod this wheelchair racing, Mark. I don't need to do that. I'm going to do powerlifting. What's that? Weightlifting. All right, what makes you think you can do that? So, well, there was this guy, you know, and he was lifting 220, and I was lifting 220. And he just went, you're an idiot. What? I thought, so proud. No, you're an idiot. And I was like, why? And again, this is where the education system let me down. So did you realise in the gym in America they use pounds and in competition they use kilos? Yeah, what's the difference? I don't get it. Let's go to the gym. And so I go to the gym, put it on 220 pounds, and I lift that really easily. And I went, right, now put on 220 kilos. You're wrong, I'm right. And well, it turns out that he was right and I was wrong. And 220 kilos is very heavy. I
Yeah.
didn't move that off the racks. so I did that. Did that for 17 years.
But that didn't, like, because you got it wrong, that didn't, like, sway you to not continue to go down that route.
No,
That's
because
cool.
I believe I had a good starting foundation.
Was it just that you wanted to prove your dad wrong that you could do it?
Yeah, there's that. So I went to junior games and I met the Powerlifting Association, or British Weightlifting Association for Disabled as it was known then, which was amazing. And I took it out from there. Competed at the World Wheelchair Games my first year. Was British champion. 7 times, I think. So,
Wow.
represented England at Commonwealth Games in Delhi. Um, held the European record for 34 minutes until someone came along, beat it by about 90 kilos.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but for me, that was my most precious achievement because I'd never held an international record before.
Yeah.
So that was brilliant. And I think the reason I did it for so long was I always vowed I would do one Paralympics. And the fact that I'd never qualified, and I'm actually grateful I never qualified
Okay.
because I don't think my career would have been as long. I think
Right.
I would have gone, that's it, I'm
Yeah.
done.
More
Um,
fallen out of love with it quickly.
yeah. Um, so I think it was good that I didn't qualify.
Did that at
Uh,
the time though, like, because obviously you had that aspirations, I want to go to, you at that time you said, I want to go to
yeah,
Sydney, but you know, you wanted to be in the Paralympics or you wanted to be a
yeah,
Paralympian.
yeah.
Did that, when it kept not happening, did that kind of, what's the right word, break you down and like make you feel that you weren't ever going to get there? Or was it just that actually at the same time you were falling out of love for it, or
Um,
not out of love for it, but you know what I mean? You were like, uh,
the only one that broke my heart missing was Beijing
okay,
because I am led to believe, I don't know if this is true, but I'm led to believe I actually was considered to be taken. Um, but also, a year prior to that, um, I went to a competition in Poland. I celebrated a bit too hard, shall we say.
oh,
I fell out my wheelchair. Apparently, I don't remember because I'd celebrated too hard. 3 months later, I still had this headache,
oh no.
and it turns out I disconnected the shunt,
Mm.
and so they uh, removed it in 2000, at the end of 2008, I think it was. Um, but also, I also had another surgery where this doctor had cut me open in a delicate place, shall we say, and it didn't heal. So I then spent 3 months in hospital while that
Right.
healed. Um,
So if all of that hadn't have happened,
I think that made it easier
right,
for me not going. If I'd been fit and healthy
and
and
not had
then
gone.
not have gone, I think
Yeah.
I'd have been done with the sport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. As
But
probably anybody would. Like,
yeah,
that's hard, isn't it? To work and love and obviously enjoy it and then not
mm,
be picked. But because you had other things going on, it kind
yeah,
of helped that situation in a way.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I was very scared having the brain op took. So they removed the tube because they said I don't
Okay.
need it anymore. And when I was a kid playing basketball, I think it was about 13, 14, another player of ours had had the same operation,
To have it removed.
had it removed, and they died 2 weeks later.
Yeah, because it's not
And
something that I mean, I'm obviously more aware of shunts being fitted. I've never met a child or
no,
you know, I didn't,
it's
you
not
know,
a common. Yeah.
no.
So yeah, so I was proper scared,
Yeah, not
okay,
surprised.
and I was tearful most days. Um,
And how old were you? Were you like
I was
18?
29,
Oh, wow, okay.
29, and I went in just after my 30th to have it removed. And yeah, I spent a lot of time with friends because I wasn't sure if I was going to see him again, and
Yeah.
it's scary. But the doctor said because I was relatively fit and healthy, it was okay. I was going to be okay. And thankfully, you know, 12 years later, I'm still you're
Still
here, or
here.
14 years later. Sorry, 14 years later. Um, so that was good. But I carried on until 2014, and then injuries just caught up with me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a shame because I was on the verge of qualifying for Rio. I'd got a new coach who had he was amazing. He'd improved me more than any other coach had ever done in a short amount of time. And I think if I'd got the chance to work with him earlier,
It would have been
it
different.
would have been different.
It's always that same thing though. I think that's the case in sport, and I think, like, we were saying about, it's the case in therapy as well. You have the right therapist, you're going to go a long
Yeah,
way. You have the wrong therapist, you're not really going to
yeah,
get anywhere. Like, same with sport. If you have the
absolutely.
right coach, you're going to get somewhere. The wrong coach, or not necessarily the right coach for you, it's not necessarily, it's going to work, it's going to be okay, but it's not going to be like, wow, poof, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I retired in 2015 officially, and I struggled to admit that it was over.
Right.
Really, for someone that hated sport, didn't want to do it.
You've kind of gone the opposite way. It was like, don't want to do
Yeah,
it, love it, don't want to not do it.
yeah. You know, because I always wanted to travel, and that allowed me to travel, but I had to be good at the sport. So my dad
Mhm.
kind of got what he wanted. I was doing sport and things, um, and I got to travel, got to see some amazing places.
Yeah.
Um, so it worked out for everyone really. Um, but my friends were my friends have been amazing since retirement. Things came to a head a little bit in 2018. My 40th birthday, I got extremely drunk, and I got shown this video of me, and I realised I needed help as well, because I was not, because there was other health issues as well,
Mm.
and I wasn't dealing with it very very well, and um, you know, thankfully that changed a lot for me. It did, as did the pandemic. Um,
Yeah.
I managed. So I was 2 years. This time 2 years ago, I was 17 and a half stone.
Wow.
I'm now 13, 12 and a half, 13. Um, so during lockdown, I managed to break my hip. um, Getting in my wheelchair. Of
Oh,
all,
right. Yeah.
yeah. Someone had challenged me to the press up challenge on Facebook, and so I was doing that, and then I got back in my chair one day, and I was like, that really hurts, right? And then things kicked off. So I'd had problems with that leg. I'd broken that leg before. I'd been bitten on that leg in India as well. So I'd had problems with the right leg, and then and everything just kicked off. I packed my bag, called an ambulance. My sister came round because she knew um, something wasn't quite right, because like she sat here and she actually pushed me up against the wall because she was worried that I was going to tip out backwards because I was drifting in and out of
Yeah.
consciousness, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to hospital and I was like to the doctor, can you x-ray my hip? He's like, well, you haven't done anything with the hip. And I'm like, but it hurts. But you haven't had a fall, but it hurts. Just, and he x-rayed it and they went, don't move, you've broken your hip. Yeah, so I broke my hip. Spent quite a while in hospital. And so, because I play basketball now, and obviously you have to strap your feet in and things, and my leg was even twisted further around. So I said to the doctor, I wanted to chop my leg off. Like, what? Yeah, chop my leg off. No. Chop my leg off. I can't sit in my chair properly. No. Please chop my leg off. No. This went on for about 5 weeks. So in the end, this doctor said to me, you are sitting in your chair properly. And I'm like, no, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm not. You know, I'm normally polite and have so much respect for the.
Yeah.
I'd been there like 5 weeks at that time and just it got to me. So I tweeted the CEO of the hospital.
Of course you did.
Yeah. He sent someone round. She sat and talked to me for half an hour and went, I totally understand. Totally understand why you've got the She said, and then she said to me, are you prepared to die? Because you could die from this operation. And
Wow.
I said, yes. And she said, are you open to alternative solutions if one can be found? I said, yes, absolutely. If a solution can be found, of course. But no one's providing me with a solution. So they then sent a clinical psychologist round to see me, who then proceeded to tell the doctors that they were absolute idiots and should be listening to me because I clearly knew
how you felt.
How I felt.
Yeah.
And then the vascular surgeon came out, and I'd seen the vascular surgeon before, and he was brilliant. He said, "Look," he apologised, and he, of all the doctors, he didn't need to apologise because he can't go around chopping off limbs.
No, yeah.
But for no reason. He's been told by other doctors that everything's fine. And he was really, really good, really, really good. And I had it chopped off last May.
Wow. And you haven't looked back?
Sorry?
You haven't looked back?
No.
Brilliant.
And I realised, so my friend Ali, I went to see him during lockdown briefly, and I couldn't get off the sofa. And he was like, mate, you need to sort yourself out. And people would always tell me I had to lose weight, and they're absolutely right. But never one. And it's so easy to go, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight.
Yeah.
Tell them how without saying, eat salad, eat it. You know, do it in a way that's comfortable and enjoyable, because you still want to enjoy life. And he showed me, and I lost like 3 stone for the operation.
Wow, that's amazing.
So grateful for it, and did London Marathon last year.
I've seen that. That's cool.
Amazing. And I got Great North Run this year.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So is there anything as an adult that you could, if you could go back and do differently or change, is there anything?
I think the sport. I think if I was born in today's era, I'd want to do sport. It's on the TV. It's
totally different. Like that, that Paralympics in Atlanta in comparison to London 2012 or all of them, like Tokyo even, and that was without like anybody there. That's two worlds apart, and that's what people don't realize now, and that's not even in that long of amount of time, really, is it?
yeah, definitely. So I think I wish I'd found powerlifting earlier.
Mm,
I wish I'd found powerlifting before wheelchair racing, um, because I think I would be. I don't know whether I would have gone to Paralympics because I can't say, oh yes, I would have done. But I
mm.
think I would have had a better shot.
And you
I
probably would have
do.
enjoyed the whole journey in a
Yeah,
roundabout way, more, because
yeah,
that first part of your sporting kind of journey was forced. It
yeah,
wasn't necessarily enjoyable. It's like, oh, okay, I just carry on, keep going, like, and obviously
yeah,
not
yeah.
not nice times within that,
No,
but you know, the sound of the powerlifting, really, it's like, yeah, that was, and if that could have been the whole of your sporting career, it would have, been different then, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah. But I'm forever grateful that those physios, my dad, especially my dad, pushed me into those things because it's made me
Mm,
the person I am today. You know,
yeah,
again, my best friend, you know, he is my role model. He's shown me the rights and wrongs of life. So I've had such a best of everything
yeah,
and the worst of everything, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I think though, with the having the best, you have to experience the worst, because you would
Yes,
never realize it's the best.
absolutely, absolutely.
Those people that have got everything
Yeah,
and had everything handed to them, may not
mm,
appreciate it in the
no,
same extent as somebody that has gone through the hell to feel
yeah,
the
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so what advice would you give to other kids out there that are in similar situations to you?
Remember, you have a voice. Um, be constructive in why you want to do or why you don't want to do something. Um,
Mm,
enjoy life. Don't be afraid to hurt yourself. Don't be afraid to hurt yourself. Don't be afraid to fall over. If you fall over, get back up.
yeah,
Uh, Don't be afraid to have fun with your friends and you know just enjoy. Be a kid. Do those things that are
do those
naughty.
silly, yeah, those silly things.
Yeah, you know, do, there's no harm in being silly and or anything.
Yeah, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
the realizing you have a voice,
yeah,
that is, the for me, the biggest message there, because
yeah.
I don't think some children
No,
know that their voice should be heard.
no.
um I think that's really, really key for all
Yeah,
of them in all their lives.
yeah.
um
Being
what advice then, oh, sorry, carry on.
be strong-willed from day one.
Yeah,
You know, and stand your ground.
yeah, totally. So what advice then would you give to parents?
Let them be children. Um, whilst yes, they have disabilities, don't necessarily treat them as disabled children. And if they have siblings that aren't disabled, treat them fairly. And because I had a conversation with my sister, and she, as a kid, she saw me get all these wheelchairs and things and all that, and thought, why am I not getting lots of stuff? And I understand that now.
Yeah,
It's she thought I got everything handed on a plate, and it's actually only in the last couple of years since I did my hip that we've had that conversation. I was like, no, actually, I had to pay for those things. I didn't ask to be taken to hospital.
no,
No, so it's about it's about making sure that the disabled child is treated as a child. Yes, their disability does come with some issues, but children come with issues. It's just an added extra issue, and try and understand the siblings' point of view as well.
Yeah, I think that's always something that parents are always aware of and trying to navigate that. It'd be really interesting to chat to your sister, because I've had other adults that are now have siblings with disabilities, but in a different way.
You don't want to talk about
I've had people on that their brother and sisters are disabled, but very, very severely, so they don't have any of that, able to talk about that and how they felt. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that all parents should be aware of, and should know that they have the right to feel that way as a sibling, because it does look and feel that way to them. But it's kind of like explaining it all really can help, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so how can people follow your journey then?
They can follow me on Twitter, although I don't tend to use Twitter that much. They can follow me on Instagram. Find me as Chubby Alonso.
Chubby Alonso.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's your Twitter?
CJ Rattenbury.
Okay, cool.
But my Chubby Alonso is with a Z.
With a Z. That's why I couldn't find you. There's me writing Alonso normally. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. It was really, really interesting to hear your story. And it's really cool. I love your whole attitude to life, and how you the fact that you've been this way even as a child, whatever. That's really, really cool. And I think so many people can learn from your experiences. Of course, anytime. Right. Thanks for tuning in to the Disable the Label podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought of this episode. More episodes will be coming soon, so make sure you tune in. Don't forget you can download our app for free via the App Store. That's Google Play or Apple App Store. Just search Disable the Label and you'll find us.